From Alpha's severed head landing at Carol's feet to the moment Negan watches Rick's world thrive without him, these are the villain downfalls that didn't just end characters. They closed wounds the show had been bleeding from for years. Number 10. Gareth, Season 5. 4 walls and a roof. Gareth never thinks he's the villain. That's what makes him dangerous. He thinks he's a pragmatist, a survivor who just made harder choices than everyone else, and he walks into that church with that confidence completely intact.
At the hinges.
Rick is already waiting. The group surrounds the Terminants before Gareth finishes his speech. No negotiation, no speech. Rick pulls out the red-handled machete, the exact one he promised to use, and starts. The others join in. It takes seconds. Gareth can't process it. He starts bargaining mid-attack like his logic still applies. Like the rules he built his entire identity around still hold. They don't. Father Gabriel turns away. Tara flinches. Even some of the group look unsettled because Rick doesn't stop when it's over. He stops when it's done. But what this scene really does is announce who Rick Grimes has become. This isn't survival. This is execution. And the show never pretends otherwise. And then, Rick delivers the line Gareth probably replays in whatever version of an afterlife this show believes in. "You're the butcher, or you're the cattle." What makes this satisfying isn't the violence, it's the promise kept. Rick said exactly what he would do, and exactly how he would do it. In a show where plans constantly collapse, that follow-through hits like a relief valve releasing. Gareth ranked here because the satisfaction is clean but surface level. What comes above this is more complicated, and complicated always cuts deeper. But while Gareth's fall was about a predator meeting someone more prepared, the next one is about a lieutenant who thought loyalty would protect him. It didn't. Number 9. Simon, Season 8. Worth. Simon spends all of Season 8 being everything Negan pretends not to be. Negan has a code. Simon just has a body count. When Negan finds out Simon massacred the scavengers, every single one, he doesn't rage. He gets quiet. And that quiet is the most terrifying thing Simon has ever faced.
My people, I'm gonna kill every last one of those farmers.
You will do exactly what I ask.
We can't let them get away with this shit.
You will do!
The fight is fast and brutal and completely one-sided by the end. Negan chokes the life out of Simon in front of the Saviors, slow enough that everyone understands exactly what's happening and why. Layer 1. The Saviors watch their most vicious enforcer become proof that even within this world, there are lines. That Negan's brutality has a logic Simon never understood.
You went for it all to the hilltop. You got Saviors killed, and then you ran away like a coward. Those people, they are always gonna know that there's a loophole, a way to escape. They are always gonna be looking for that chance to push back. So now, I gotta kill all of them!
Layer 2. The real irony is that Simon died for doing what he thought Negan wanted. Maximum force, zero mercy. He just did it without permission. And in Negan's world, that's the only sin that actually counts. Layer 3. What makes this land isn't sympathy for Negan. It's the satisfaction of watching someone who operated with pure cruelty meet the one person whose cruelty was actually deliberate. Simon thought he was the apex. He was always the tool. This ranks here because Simon's fall is satisfying but contained. It doesn't change the show's direction, it just removes a piece that was always temporary, which raises the question every fan had at this point. If Negan disposes of his own enforcers this easily, what does his own downfall eventually look like? That answer is still coming. But first, something older and colder. Number 8. The Governor's First Fall, Season 3. Welcome to the Tombs. The Governor walks into Season 3 as the show's argument that civilization can be rebuilt. By the end of it, he's proof that some people were never building anything. After the prison assault collapses, his own people refusing to finish what he started, he snaps! He opens fire on his own convoy. He kills almost everyone who follows him. And then he drives away. Michonne's blade through his eye didn't break him. Losing the prison didn't break him. What breaks him is that his people stopped believing the story he was telling. Layer 1. The survivors left standing watch him massacre their friends and do nothing, because there's nothing left to do. The man with the plan just proved the plan was always only about him. Layer 2. But this moment's real significance is what it doesn't do. It doesn't end him. The Governor survives. And the show makes the deliberate choice to let him walk away, which means the audience carries the unresolved weight of him into Season 4. The first fall lands harder because it's incomplete. Layer 3. This ranks at 8 because the satisfaction here is complicated by the fact that it isn't over. The Governor doesn't get what he deserves at this moment. He just gets diminished. And diminishment, it turns out, only makes him more dangerous. And if a broken man walking away felt like an unfinished sentence, what comes next is the show finally putting the period down. Hard. Number 7. Owen, the Wolves Leader, Season 6. Owen never gets a name in the credits that most fans remember. He gets a philosophy instead. The Wolves don't build, don't negotiate, don't compromise, they just unmake everything they touch. And Owen delivers that worldview with complete conviction.
You're not gonna make it out there.
Carol shoots him in a hallway without hesitation, without a speech, without giving Morgan's redemption project one more second to prove itself. Owen doesn't get a dramatic final moment. He gets Carol. Morgan spent episodes protecting him, arguing that people can come back. The group watched that argument play out in real time, and Carol ends the debate the way she ends most debates, decisively, and before it costs more than it already has.
What's the W for?
You know, the first settlers here, they put bounties on wolves' heads. They're back now. Thoughts?
Everything gets a return.
What this moment actually puts on trial is Morgan's philosophy versus Carol's, and the show doesn't fully side with either. Owen saves Denise on his way out. Morgan's gamble briefly pays off, and then he's gone anyway. The show refuses to let either worldview win cleanly. Layer 3. This ranks at 7 because Owen's fall is more thematic than emotional. He matters as an idea more than a character. The entries above this are about people the audience had time to hate properly. The next one is exactly that, someone the show gave us a full season to despise, and then handed us the most unexpected person to finish the job. Number 6. Alpha, Season 10. Walk with Us. Alpha is the show's most committed villain. She doesn't want power, resources, or territory in any conventional sense. She wants to unmake the idea that human civilization is worth preserving. That's not a plan, that's a religion. Negan slits her throat in the dark, mid-conversation, before she understands what's happening. No speech, no confrontation. She just stops. Alpha spends her final moment completely off guard, which is the cruelest possible end for someone who built her entire identity around seeing through other people's weakness. she didn't see this one. The moment Carol receives Alpha's head is what the scene is really about. This wasn't Negan's kill. It was Carol's long game finally paying out. The grief she's been carrying since Henry died gets the closest thing to resolution this show ever offers. But the show-level consequence is stranger than satisfaction. Negan killing Alpha doesn't feel like heroism. It feels like one predator removing another for reasons that are still partly his own. The Whisperer threat ends not through community or courage, but through manipulation. And that's the world the show has been building toward for 10 seasons. Alpha ranks here because her fall lands emotionally, but the satisfaction is filtered through Carol, not delivered directly. The deaths above this one hit the audience without a filter. Number 5, The Governor's Final Fall, Season 4, Too Far Gone. By the time the Governor returns in Season 4, he's already lost everything once. He rebuilt anyway, found new people, gave himself a new name, tried to become someone who deserved what he was building, and then he burns it all down again. He takes Herschel hostage. He swings Michonne's katana. He makes the choice that proves the Season 3 version of him was never an aberration. It was always the truth. The new life was the lie. Michonne runs him through from behind. He falls. He's still breathing. And Lily, the woman he convinced himself he loved, whose daughter he watched turn, walks up and fires. The prison collapses around everyone. The family Rick spent 2 seasons building scatters in every direction. There is no victory here, just survival and loss, distributed unevenly among people who didn't deserve either. This is where the show makes its definitive statement about the Governor. That redemption isn't available to everyone, that some people keep choosing who they are until someone stops them, and that the cost of stopping them is always paid by people who had nothing to do with creating them. Herschel is already gone by the time the Governor falls. The punishment arrives after the damage. And then the Governor says the line that makes everything he's done land in one sentence: kill them all. This changed everything. Fans never forgot this moment. The show was never the same after this, not because of the Governor's death, but because of what he took with him on the way out. This ranks at 5, because the satisfaction is real, but soaked in grief. You get what you wanted, and it costs more than the wanted was worth. If one of the moments you were expecting hasn't shown up yet, don't worry, because this is where the list stops being about satisfying violence and starts being about permanent, irreversible justice. And if you're a Walking Dead fan who remembers where you were when these moments aired, make sure you're subscribed, because the top entries on this list are the ones that changed everything. Number 4, Beta, Season 10, A Certain Doom. Beta spends 2 seasons as a wall, not a character, a wall. Immovable, silent, absolute. He exists to prove that the Whisperer world has enforcers that ideology alone can't explain. He isn't following Alpha because he believes. He's following her because without her, he has no idea what he is.
Felt different this time.
After Alpha dies, we start to see the cracks. The mask slips literally. Daryl drives 2 knives directly into Beta's eyes. No struggle, no final speech, no last moment of clarity. Just Daryl, and then nothing. But then someone pulls the mask off. And the walkers surrounding Beta, his herd, his congregation, look at his face and drift away. They don't recognize him without it. The thing he sacrificed everything to become means nothing to the dead he was trying to lead. What this moment quietly reveals is that Beta was always performing. The pre-apocalypse celebrity under the mask, the enforcer under Alpha, the believer under the philosophy, every layer was a costume.
It's you.
The show strips them all off in one beat, and what's underneath is just a man the walkers don't even bother to turn toward. That's not a death, that's an erasure. Beta ranks here because the physical payoff is enormous, but the psychological dimension is what elevates it. Daryl delivers the kill. The walkers deliver the verdict. This is where the list stops being about satisfying endings and starts being about earned ones. And the three above this are the most earned moments in the show's entire run. Number 3, Negan's Throat, Season 8. Wrath. This changed everything, and then immediately changed again. Rick spends all of Season 8 promising one thing: not safe, not victory, Negan's death, personally, with his own hands. The audience has been holding on to that promise since the premiere, since the Bat, since Glenn and Abraham. This is the moment the show has been structuring itself around for 2 full seasons. Rick slits Negan's throat. The crowd exhales. The war is over. The villain is dead. Except he isn't. Rick immediately orders Sadiq to save him, and the group Maggie most devastatingly realizes that the ending they were owed has just been taken away and replaced with something Rick decided unilaterally.
Save him.
Maggie's scream isn't grief. It's the sound of a promise being broken in real time. Daryl's expression isn't anger. It's the realization that Rick's vision and their survival have just separated into 2 different roads. The show-level consequence is the most ambitious thing the series ever attempted.
No! Maggie! No, he can't! No! No!
Making the audience feel the satisfaction of the kill and the wrongness of the survival simultaneously. You got what you wanted. You're not sure you should have wanted it. That moral discomfort is either the show's greatest achievement or its most frustrating moment, and the fact that fans still argue about it is proof that it landed. And then, Rick says the words that reframe every episode of the war that came before. My mercy prevails over my wrath. Fans never forgot this moment. Not because it was clean, but because it wasn't. This is where the series crossed a line it couldn't come back from. The line between a show about survival and a show about what survival is actually for. This ranks at 3, because the satisfaction here is deliberately incomplete. And the 2 entries above it are the ones where the satisfaction is totally earned across more seasons, paid off more completely, and still talked about years later. Number 2, Hershel's execution and the Governor's true point of no return, Season 4, Too Far Gone. Everything the Governor does in Season 4 builds toward one question. Has he changed? The show answers it with a katana. Herschel is on his knees. The Governor has Michonne's blade. And for one moment, one genuine, extended moment, it looks like he might actually lower it. Like the man he was trying to become might win. He swings anyway.
Liar.
Rick's voice breaks before his body does. He was negotiating. He was trying to find the version of this where it didn't have to happen. The Governor looks him in the eye and swings anyway. The group watching from the prison, Maggie, Glenn, Beth, all of them, sees the line crossed in real time. There is no going back to the table. There is no version of this where talking continues. The Governor didn't just kill Herschel, he killed the possibility of the scene ending any other way. This didn't just end a character, it ended what the show was trying to be. Up to this point, The Walking Dead still believed, at least partly, that dialogue was a tool, that decency had leverage. Herschel was the physical embodiment of that belief, the moral center, the voice that kept arguing for humanity, even when humanity kept failing to deserve it. The katana swing doesn't just kill him, it removes the argument from the show entirely. And then the governor says the three words that make every prior moment of apparent redemption retroactively false. Lily, kill him. The show was never the same after this. Fans never forgot this moment. It ranks at 2 because of the governor's downfall that follows Michonne's blade. Lily's bullet only satisfies because of what he did here. The fall only matters as much as the crime. And this was the crime. There is one entry left, and it's the one that didn't end with a death, which is exactly why it hits harder than any of the ones that did. Number 1. Negan's True Downfall. Season 9. The Time. Skip. Negan doesn't die. That's the whole point. Every villain before him gets a bullet, a blade, a body. The show trains the audience across 8 seasons to expect that the final payment on a villain's debt is physical. A death scene. A last look. Something that closes the account with finality. Negan gets a cell. He wakes up in a world that keeps moving without him. The communities he terrorized are thriving. The saviors he commanded are rebuilding as equals, not subjects. The structure he spent years constructing through fear and charisma and calculated brutality has been completely, methodically dismantled. Not destroyed. Replaced. Rick's vision, the one Negan spent 2 seasons mocking as naive, is actually working. The survivors don't hate him anymore, which is worse. Hate requires engagement. What they give him is something far more devastating. They give him irrelevance. He sits in his cell and watches through the window as the world he tried to own becomes exactly what he said could never exist. Children grow up. Crops grow. People make decisions together. Nobody needs what he was selling. This is the most psychologically complete villain defeat in the show's entire run. Because Negan's power was never physical, it was philosophical. He didn't believe people could choose cooperation over domination. He built his entire empire on the proof that fear works better than hope. Rick's mercy doesn't just spare his life, it runs an 8-season experiment that disproves Negan's core thesis, and then makes him watch the results from a cage. That's not punishment. That's refutation. And the moment that makes it land completely isn't a confrontation or a speech. It's Negan, alone in the cell, holding what's left of Lucille the Bat, the icon, the extension of everything he was, and sitting with the silence of a world that has moved on. This changed everything. The show was never the same after this, not because of what it took away, but because of what it proved was possible. Negan spent 2 seasons arguing that Rick's way was a death sentence. Season 9 proves him wrong, and forces him to live inside that proof indefinitely. This ranks at number 1 because it is the only villain downfall on this list that doesn't give the audience the release of a death. It gives them something rarer, a defeat that actually means something. A punishment that fits the crime not in kind, but in irony. Negan built his world on the idea that hope was weakness. Rick's mercy turned that weakness into Negan's prison walls. Fans never forgot this moment, because it asked something the show had never asked before. What if the most satisfying ending for a monster isn't death, but proof that everything he stood for was wrong? Negan didn't just lose a war, he lost the argument. And that's the only defeat that ever really counted. These were the villain downfalls that actually delivered the moments The Walking Dead made you feel like the years of investment finally paid out. Which one still feels most earned to you? Did we miss one? Drop it below and we might build the next video around it. Subscribe if you're not done processing what this show did to you. Click here to watch Moments Rick Grimes Got People Killed. It hits just as hard.